Teen Titans, The Judas Contract. Now this of course is going to be my spoiler-free review, so if you guys want to skip over this and head straight to my spoiler discussion for the movie, I'll put a link in the description to that once it's uploaded. But getting right into this, of course spoiler-free wise, I enjoyed it. This is our second trip into like the Teen Titans, New 52 DC animated universe, and I thought it was pretty good. This is, I don't know, like the eighth or something. Like they have like a million films now within like the New 52 universe, most of which are Batman, of course. But this was a good one, and it focuses solely on the Teen Titans. And in one regard, I think that's really awesome. In another regard, I don't know if it makes it as cool as the first one, which, first of all, it was the first time we got to see this version of the Teen Titans, so that was really cool. It involved, different characters. We get Blue Beetle in here. We have Beast Boy, who's still young, but we have both Starfire and Dick, who are, adults, and Starfire is actually leading the team. We actually have, a young Raven still, so they kind of switch things up. And then, of course, the movie focused a lot on Damian transitioning into a part of the team, being part of a team, which also involved the Teen Titans fighting the Justice League. And it's a little hard to have kind of the stuff that they had in that first film get beat, because it was the introduction of Trigon in this, version of the animated universe. So we get a big focus on Raven's storyline. We get to see her use her powers, which are cool. We get, the focus on Damian wasn't that big of a deal for the last film, because, there've been like 3 Batman movies where he's been the focus. So, it was fine that it wasn't a big focus, but, we do have the Teen Titans versus the Justice League. We get evil versions of Wonder Woman, Superman, I believe Batman, and I don't think they did Flash, and I'm pretty sure Green Lantern wasn't in that one either. But, we get to see Cyborg as well as a part of the team. So it's a little hard to say that I like this one more than the last one, just because that had so much to it. It was brand new with the Teen Titans. It was Teen Titans versus the Justice League. We got to see, of course, Raven, who probably has the coolest story out of anyone who's ever been in the Teen Titans as far as her dealing with her father. We see her do that, and it's just hard to top that, and even with the stuff that they did in this film, where you have Tara, and you actually have the return of Slade, who's like almost the nemesis of Damian in this version of how they've done the films, and it was still really good, but it's just hard to say like it beats out Teen Titans versus Justice League. Like just that in itself, it's really hard to beat, and I think the focus was good as well in both films, but I just really enjoyed it a little bit more in the last one because it was such a dark focus on Raven, and this I felt was a decent focus, but it was kind of what I expected. And plus, with it being Tara, as a fan of like the old Teen Titans cartoon, you kind of know what's going to happen there. So I was like, there isn't much to how things are going to really play out, and that might be another element. There's no real surprise to it. You're kind of just waiting to see how they do it, because you know what's about to happen if you know the old Teen Titans show. Also, this is based off a comic book, so I'm sure people who actually read the comic, of course, know the story already. But I still think they did a good job with it. It was still entertaining to watch. I love the characters for sure. This movie actually has, oddly enough, the greatest focus on Dick Grayson out of all the films that they've had in this animated universe, because even with him in Batman, I think he's in the second and third Batman movies, but he's of course not a huge focus, but he has a really big focus in this, him and Starfire. The way the film actually starts off is actually really interesting. I love the way they did that, but there's some weird stuff there too that I don't want to go into as far as spoilers. But they did something that I thought was a little weird that they should have given an explanation for in that like opening sequence, and I was like, I feel like something really important is missing here that they just kind of threw in as like a comic book sort of thing. But then it's like, but you also have this happening in the rest of the film, and you should probably touch on these 2 points that seem related but probably aren't. So that was one thing that kind of bugged me in that opening sequence, but it was really cool the way they did that. Slade, of course, Slade is always a great villain. Brother Blood and H.I.V.E, they are kind of the big focus if you saw the trailer. They're kind of like the main focus really in the trailer, but it's not as much as you might think. It's actually fairly split, and it's really more focused on Tara and Deathstroke and kind of what they're doing and how it relates to H.I.V.E. And so I thought that was interesting, considering I was expecting it to be like, kind of like the Teen Titans deal where, Brother Blood is like this really big deal. And he still was, for sure. It just wasn't as much as I expected. Like, he was in there, but he wasn't in the movie nearly as much as I thought he was going to be based on the trailer. Where I was like, oh, it's all focused on, like, H.I.V.E. and this and that. It's really focused more on Tara as a member of the team and Slade. So I thought that was pretty cool. And like I said, we get more of a focus on Nightwing. I still hate the fact that the New 52 where he's got red instead of blue, I just always hated that. It looks better in this. It's not just the V, there's like a bit of a design, so I was like, I at least like that, because normally changing like that plain V from blue to red, for some reason looks really dumb to me. But they made like an actual design to it on the chest, and I was like, all right, even in red, I think that looks pretty cool. So I was happy to see that. That's just an aesthetic thing. I was just like, why did they go from blue to red? Like it was just, they had to change something with him, and it was like, let's not change the whole costume, let's just make it red. And I was like, that just doesn't look as cool as the blue. But anyway, I thought they did a great focus on Nightwing, Starfire. They do some interesting stuff, of course, with Tara. They have kind of the relationship going in there with her and Beast Boy, because, you know, like I said, that's kind of like their common thread. So, yeah, they do some good stuff there. As much as they focused on Raven in the last film, she doesn't really do much in this one. Like, she's almost absent, if I'm being totally honest. I feel like she was hardly in this film at all. She shows up, she definitely has some lines, she's in there here and there, but she really doesn't have much of a role in this. Blue Beetle has a bit of a bigger element in this. I think pretty much everyone has more to do in this, outside of the two who had the most in the last film, which of course was Damian and Raven, because it focused on Damian's transition to the team, and it focused on Raven dealing with her father. So I think they're like, all right, we basically spent the last film focusing on the, you know, emotions of those two characters specifically. So they actually take a bit of a backseat in this, and then the other characters are actually explored. So it is, you know, definitely well done. But like I said, you know, right from the beginning, it's kind of hard to beat how awesome it is to go through anything dealing with Raven, because it's her controlling her power, being able to like destroy people in an insane manner. So there's a lot to that, and you know, like it's hard to have a darker story than what she has. Although they certainly get close to it with Tara, like the way they do some stuff with her story. I was like, that gets pretty intense, and it's not demon based; it's just people based, and it's like, wow, that's kind of harsh. So they do some good stuff there, and I kind of wish they did a little bit more, but they definitely touch on some pretty good points about her backstory and why she is the character that she is throughout the film. So I thought that was pretty good. Action is definitely good. The animation, of course, is top notch. But really enjoyable film. I'm looking forward to what they decide to do next with the Teen Titans. And, you know, they do have an after credit sequence. They've been doing that since like the first Justice League movie. So everyone has an after credit thing if you watch all the way through it. So there is a bit of a tease at the end. Of course, I'll talk about that in spoilers. Also at the before the credits at the end, they kind of do another minor tease, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely excited to see, you know, kind of how they decide to go about with this. But definitely a fun movie. I was glad that we did get a focus on Nightwing, even though he showed up, you know, like 3 other previous films. Really no focus on him whatsoever, and this one definitely touched on him as a part of the Teen Titans, as, you know, kind of him coming back into the fold because he was off doing his Nightwing thing and Starfire took over. And in this, they kind of, you know, have a back and forth where they sort of work together, but he's still not really the leader, but he kind of comes in and does some stuff because he's Dick Grayson, and he is a good leader because he was the leader of the Teen Titans. So they kind of touch on that and their relationship and how they've known each other, you know, through time and things like that. I was like, that's a cool focus. Deathstroke, of course, is super awesome. Like, there's a part in this where things just start to get real crazy, and I was like, this is a really great sequence. They do some really good fighting with Nightwing and Slade. Great. That was probably my favorite action sequence just because it was really intense. And I was like, I don't really know how this is going to play out. I have my guesses because main characters and all, but I thought it was really well done. The way they did some, you know, like just this really intense action sequence. So really loved that. Ending fight was definitely good. Like I said, they have kind of 2 teases at the end of this, both that kind of like one of the last scenes in the movie, and then the actual after credit sequence. But certainly a fun film. Of course, if you like the other DC movies, you would certainly enjoy this. Like I said, personally speaking, I think I like the last one better, but it's just hard to top that. I think even when this movie was coming out, I was like, I'm sure it's going to be fun, which it definitely is, but it's just hard in general to top a movie where you not only have the Teen Titans first being introduced, which is really cool to see this new version of the Teen Titans, but you also have those new Teen Titans being introduced while they're also introducing Raven's backstory, which is insanely great. And also they end up fighting the Justice League all in one film, and it was actually done very well in that last film. It wasn't convoluted. The pacing I thought was really well done too, so it's like, it's just really hard to beat that first one simply because they were like, let's go like straight to the top and do Teen Titans versus Justice League. And it made sense. Like, nothing in that movie was just dumb. And it was just like, it went, you know, the pacing for it was really good. It had its good focus on the Titans. We still get to see the Justice League a little, and then of course they end up fighting them. And it just all works. I was like, man, it's just really hard to beat that, because that movie was very well done, with especially with all those characters just being introduced. They do enough to kind of introduce them a little bit. And like I said, this one kind of dives much further into the rest of the team, where we get more of a focus on Nightwing, Starfire, Beast Boy, Jaime, and also Tara is like the new member, who's like, she was the tease at the end of the last Teen Titans movie. She was the after credit sequence, just flying across the water. It's like, oh sweet, Tara's going to be in it. So they do a lot of good focus on the characters for sure. Action is great. Very excited for where they're headed as far as kind of what they teased, and also what they showed before the credits and one of the ending sequences. So really looking forward to how things are going to play out in the future with the Teen Titans that they've made. But definitely a fun film. Excited to see, who they decide to add to the Teen Titans, because that's, it's the Teen Titans. In the comic books, the Teen Titans is never like just, it starts off really small, but it expands to so many people. It's almost like Young Justice, where it's like just a buttload of kids. So I am curious how they're going to, or if they're ever going to decide to do that, because I know this is following kind of the New 52 storyline and, characters at least. I don't know exactly how this story played out, because this may have been before New 52. But just with the way they're doing things, it's like, alright, they're kind of going about it as the New 52 version. So it's like there are going to be different characters that show up compared to what I might actually be used to. So I'm really looking forward to how that's going to play out, and who they decide to use as far as villains in the future for the Teen Titans, and what storylines they do take from maybe the past and kind of rework them into New 52 versions, or what stories they take from, the present. Well, actually it's not New 52 anymore, it's Rebirth. So we'll see what they do with that as well. I hadn't considered that until just now, but we'll see where they go with that. If they decide to do a crazy Rebirth sort of thing, or just blend it without doing all the extra craziness. They're like, no, it just happened somewhere in there, and now it's all Rebirth or whatever. So we'll see what happens with that. But definitely a fun movie. Highly recommend you guys check it out if you've liked any of the other DC movies, even before they did like the New 52 version of the animated universe. You will enjoy this for sure. So if you've seen it, we'd love to know what you guys thought about it. If you don't want to put spoilers, just go ahead. But if you do, make sure you put a spoiler tag, or like I said in the beginning of this, there will be a spoiler discussion, so you can save your comments for that video if you're interested. But if you haven't seen it, if you have any random questions or anything like that, just put them down in the comment section below. Like I said, if you have seen it and you just want to vaguely talk about it, what you think was good, if you want to give some other clues, anything I may have missed that you thought was okay, or just bad in general, please put those thoughts down in the comment section below as well. And of course, thanks for watching.